Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 14th episode of Don't Forget the Popcorn. Today, we will be discussing the greatest Christmas movies of all time and the spirit of the season. Now, this list here is my personal favorites based on nostalgia and overall enjoyment. This list is just for fun, so don't take it too serious. Make sure you drop your favorites in the comments below. Now, before we get into anything, let's talk about a couple Christmas movies that I left off this list on purpose. Let's get this out the way. Die Hard is a Christmas movie, but no, I did not include it on this list. I do love Die Hard, but I left it off this list because I wanted to include more Christmas themed films. Also, two other great movies I didn't include on this list: Eyes Wide Shut and Gremlins. I also consider both of these Christmas films, but I left them off this list for the same reason I left Die Hard off this list, even though Gremlins is pretty much a Christmas movie. All right, now let's get into the greatest Christmas movies of all time. We got 10. Number 10, Bad Santa, 2003, directed by Terry Zwigoff. Now, Bad Santa is freaking hilarious. It's about Billy Bob Thornton plays a con man, and him and his partner have an elaborate scheme for the holidays to be Santa and Santa's little helper in order to rob mall department stores. Now, they get into some things and meet some people that obviously, changes their direction and plans. Bad Santa is one of the funniest Christmas movies. It's great. Billy Bob Thornton at the top of his game, Bernie Mac funny in here. You get one of the last good performances from the late, great John Ritter. Rest in peace. This movie is just funny. All right. It's R-rated. It's raunchy. It's definitely not necessarily a family Christmas movie. You got a lot of language. Billy Bob Thornton's getting drunk and smoking and doing all kinds of crazy crap all the time. It's freaking hilarious. This is definitely a Christmas movie you watch with your homies. You kick back, you have a couple beers and watch, or whatever it is that you do. But definitely not one for the family, but a great film. Number 9, The Grinch, 2000, directed by Ron Howard. Now, Ron Howard's The Grinch, a lot of people didn't like it. The critics didn't necessarily like it, but I think it has stood the test of time over the years, and it's one that people watch every year. Jim Carrey gives one of the best performances as the Grinch. He is freaking hilarious. He makes you sad, he makes you laugh, he makes you mad, he does everything. Jim is at the top of his game in this movie. He's the star of the show. He carries the film from start to finish. It's a funny family movie. This is definitely one you can put on with a family, have a good time. All right. Is it the best Christmas movie? No, but it's definitely one that holds some nostalgia for me. Saw it in theaters back in 2000. I was a young kid and, went with the whole family, and it was a great time. And, every time I watch The Grinch, I just get great memories, being a kid, Christmas Eve, watching it, years after. So if you haven't seen The Grinch, I don't know what you're doing, but you definitely got to watch The Grinch this Christmas. Number 8, The Nightmare Before Christmas, 1993, directed by Henry Selick. Now, I know everyone's probably shocked that The Nightmare Before Christmas is so low on this list. The reason I don't have it higher is because it's like kind of half a Christmas movie, half a Halloween movie. But I think it is kind of more of a Christmas movie, even though the themes and the visuals fit more of a Halloween. The movie's about Jack, falling in love with Christmas. Christmas is the thing he's after. And obviously this is an iconic film with iconic characters and some iconic animation, stop motion work. This movie has transcended generations. It's a cultural phenomenon. You've seen the merchandise. You see people got Jack Skellington and Sally tatted on them. Everyone loves this movie, and for great reasons. It's a magical, gorgeous, beautiful film that's about love and happiness and celebration, and it's just a great family film. I've loved this movie since I was freaking 3 years old. It's 93. I saw it very young, and it never gets old. I can watch this movie anytime. Number 7, Elf, 2003, directed by John Favreau. Now, before we even talk about Elf, we got to talk about the director. John Favreau is so diverse. The dude directed Elf, he directed Iron Man, he's made all the Star Wars shows. Like, he did the movie Chef. Like, this guy is so talented. I don't think we talk about him enough as a director, a writer, creator. He is extremely talented, probably one of the most underrated working. Got that out of the way. Elf is freaking hilarious, and Will Ferrell is at the top of his game. This is probably my favorite Will Ferrell performance. I think he bodied this. I think this is one of his better performances. I think he really captured the spirit of a young elf. He has that great holiday happiness and cheerfulness to him, and he just wants to spread joy and make everyone's life so happy. But Buddy Elf, it's a great story about a man on a mission to find his dad and to obtain happiness and feel normal in the world because he's out of place in the world that he's in when he's in the elf world and when he's in the human world. And it's about a man trying to strike balance there. And it's ultimately just a funny, cute family movie that you can watch with the kids, you can watch with your friends, you can kick back, watch it alone. It's hilarious. You get some great performances in the movie. And it's just overall a feel good, fun film that, you can't help but smile and laugh the entire time you're watching it. Number 6. Miracle on 34th Street, 1947, directed by George Seaton. Now, this movie has been remade in the 90s. We're not talking about that one. We're talking about the original one, Miracle on 34th Street. The reason I love this movie, and I didn't see this movie until I was older, but the reason I love this movie is because this movie makes you feel exactly like a kid again, no matter what age you see it. When you're a kid, you believe in Santa Claus and you believe in the guy coming through the chimney, coming down your fireplace, putting presents under your tree. And those memories as a kid and getting excited for that and making cookies for Santa and writing your Christmas list and things like that, that's just some of the best stuff that Christmas has to offer for children. I think Christmas is one of the holidays that really embodies being a child. And I think it brings the inner child in everyone out, no matter what age you are. And I think Miracle on 34th Street is a perfect example of that. The film is about a man who's hired by Macy's to play Santa Claus, but he claims he's the real Santa Claus. And because of these claims, this man's life actually starts getting pretty screwed up and he's threatened by jail time and all this stuff. It's pretty crazy. But there's a young girl who believes that he is real. And this young girl is trying to convince her mother and everyone else that this man is real and you guys are making a huge mistake. And Santa is just the way Santa is portrayed in this movie, it's everything you would want and expect from Santa Claus if he was real. Sweet, jolly, heavier set guy who's magical and just knows everything and knows all the right things to say and just knows how to put a smile on everyone's face. And you guys, it's just such an awesome, beautiful film that just really brings the inner child out of everyone. Number 5. It's a Wonderful Life, 1946, directed by Frank Capra. Now, It's a Wonderful Life. It's considered one of the best Christmas movies of all times by most publications, and for good reasons. Jimmy Stewart, Jimmy Stewart is one of the best actors we've ever had, and he kills this role. Jimmy Stewart plays a man who has high hopes and ambitions to do much greater things in life, but he ends up staying in the town he was in, not really following his dreams. But in the process of that, he becomes a hero. He becomes the neighborhood man that everyone knows and loves, the man that people respect and they want his help and they seek him out and they need him. And Jimmy Stewart's character, although he goes into it and he embraces his role in his life, he doesn't want that. He wants more. And this film is about a man on Christmas Eve who is ready to commit suicide, but He has a ghost come and shows him what life would be like without him. And it ain't good. It's not good. And he realizes how important he is to this town, and what he is doing matters so much to these people. He is saving lives on a daily basis, and he doesn't realize that. So the film is ultimately about being happy with where you are in your life, and understanding that even though you may not see certain things, that people may need you, and that you are more important than you may realize in life. And It's a Wonderful Life is such a great film that really can put a perspective on things and make you see things in a different light and make you appreciate life more for what it is. I think that is the beauty of It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life is a great film. It's more than a Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful Life can be watched at any time of the year. It's Although, yes, it's a Christmas film, it takes place around Christmas time. To me, it really doesn't feel like a Christmas movie. It feels like just a heartwarming, compelling story about a guy who is realizing his place in life. But if you ain't seen It's a Wonderful Life, that is a must watch this Christmas. Watch it with your whole family, and don't watch it in color. Watch it in black and white. Old school it up, guys. Just get that feeling. It's really great. Number 4, Home Alone, 1990, directed by Chris Columbus. Home Alone. All right. Everybody and their moms and seen Home Alone 150 times. Home Alone is easily one of the best prank movies of all time, let alone Christmas movies of all time. Home Alone tells a story of young Kevin who gets stuck at the house while his family goes to Paris for the holidays. How you forget a kid at home when you're about to take an international flight, I don't know. These parents are criminal to me, but whatever. Home Alone is a funny movie that it's a Christmas time movie, but it's about this kid surviving these two assholes trying to break into his house and steal all his stuff. He gets these guys good, man. This kid is going hard on these guys. And ultimately it's just a funny movie that's a fun time, and it's got that 90s vibe so heavy. When you watch it for the first time, you're gonna be cracking up, you're gonna be smiling, you're just Macaulay Culkin is at the top of his game. He was definitely one of the best child performers. He is so cool in this movie, and he stays calm as a fucking feather, man. I don't know how he just keeps it together as a young kid, nobody around, nobody to help you. But hey, he holds it down in this movie. This is just a fun movie that, if you got kids, this is when you show your kids, around Christmas time. And you make sure you let them know I will never do this to you. Number 3. The Santa Claus, 1994, directed by John Pasquin. The Santa Claus is one of the movies on this list that really, really brings me back to my childhood. Memories of watching the Santa Claus Christmas Eve with my grandma every year on VHS, tracking grainy quality. Nothing beats it. Making Christmas cookies on Christmas Eve for Santa, putting out reindeer food, just all that fun Christmas crowd, hot cocoa. Whenever I watch the Santa Claus, it just brings me right back to that in my childhood, and just really reminds me why I love Christmas so much. And the Santa Claus is one of those films that, you know, you just can't help but love. Tim Allen gives one of the most heartfelt, heartwarming performances, and honestly has some of the best character development throughout a short, family Christmas film that you could ask for. He becomes a Santa Claus, and at first he rejects it, but as he starts to embrace it, it becomes so much more magical. And in the relationship between him and Charlie, as it starts to develop, as he becomes deeper into the Santa game, is just beautiful and amazing. And by Christmas Eve, when it's time to go and do work, oh, you just love it. It's so great. The sleigh is so cool with the CD player, pulls out cookies, the hot cocoa maker. There's just so much great stuff about this movie that there is to love. And this film just encapsulates Christmas in a way that almost no other Christmas movie does. This is one of the best family films to watch for Christmas. And like there's been so many movies like this that there's been movies before this. There's been movies about people being Santa Claus, becoming Santa Claus before the Santa Claus in 94. There's movies that have come way after it. They're still making movies like it, but nothing quite gets it right like the original Santa Claus. Like even the sequels, like the Santa Claus 2 is okay. I thought it was decent. 3, but 2 was decent, but nothing beats 1. So if you haven't seen the Santa Claus, do me a favor, make you some hot cocoa. If you don't drink chocolate or dairy, make you some vegan hot cocoa. Get you some cookies or vegan cookies and watch that with your family this year and just enjoy it. Number 2, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 1989, directed by Jeremiah Ashishik. Guys, come on. This is one of the funniest movies ever made. Not even just Christmas movies. Christmas Vacation is one of my favorite films, let alone Christmas movies. This movie is freaking hilarious. The Griswolds, man, having your family over for Christmas, it always seems fun until they get there. And this movie shows you that, man. Everything goes absolutely wrong that could go wrong. The Christmas tree gets set on fire. The lights shut down the power in the city. They destroy the neighbor's house. Like, yo, so much stuff goes wrong in this movie. And the end, though, but the way it wraps up in the end with if you haven't, I don't want to spoil it. If you haven't seen this movie, I'm not going to spoil it because you need to watch it this year. The end, though, really shows you what family's about and how Christmas is the time of year to give and how certain actions can have a trickling effect that you don't necessarily always see in life based on something you think you're doing this maybe right. And the person who makes a decision in this movie to ultimately screw over a lot of people who depend on certain things, he gets a first look at how it affects so many people. And it shows you that this time of year is the time to be generous, the time to be sweet. There's people who are hurting. This is one of the most stressful times of year. And I think Christmas Vacation really shows that in a very important way. And it's just a funny, fun time movie. Like, I just want to spoil so much of it, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna keep it brief on Christmas Vacation because I start talking about it, I'm going to tell you the entire movie. So watch that ASAP. Now, let's get into our number 1. Disclaimer, my number 1 pick on this movie is a movie that isn't critically acclaimed. It wasn't even popular with the people. It made some money, but it was not popular with critics or fans. But this movie here is my Christmas summed up in a nutshell. Number 1, Jingle All the Way, 1996, directed by Brian Levant. Guys, Jingle All the Way is my favorite Christmas movie. And I'm not even saying it's the best Christmas movie because it isn't. But guys, when I first watched this movie back in 1996, I was like 4 or 5 years old. This film changed the game for me. First of all, I wanted a Turbo Man doll more than anything. I wanted a Turbo Man. I thought Turbo Man was super cool. I thought this movie was freaking funny. Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of my favorite actors, and not because obviously he's not the most talented dude out there, but Arnold picks very good roles. He picks good roles for himself, and he knows what to do when the camera's on. And Arnold is freaking hilarious in this movie. This movie is so funny, and the chemistry between him and Sinbad is amazing. Sinbad is freaking hilarious in this movie. You gotta listen to some of the adult jokes he talks about in here. He says some stuff in here that I didn't necessarily catch when I was a kid, but when I watched this movie later, oh, it's hilarious. I watch this film every single year. Christmas time, Christmas Eve, I try and watch this movie. I absolutely love it. It's The story is simple. It's about a dad who's trying to get a toy that his son really wants for Christmas because he screwed up and didn't get it in time. And he spends the entire Christmas Eve trying to get this toy. And boy, oh boy, it's a ride. You got a great, funny performance from the late, great Phil Hartman. Rest in peace. One of his funniest performances in here. You got young Jake Lloyd playing Arnold's son. Young Anakin Skywalker. He's in this. It's such a good film. It's got some good themes, some good family messages, and it's ultimately the ending shows you another thing too. Like it's better to give than receive around this time. And guys, this film is just it's for me, it's nostalgia wrapped up, man. When I first saw this film, you know, I was in love. I saw it. My mom took me to see it, and I couldn't wait for it to come out on VHS so I could watch it. But guess what, guys? Back in the day, it ain't like now when a movie comes out, things out on Blu-ray in like 2 weeks. It feels like it's not like that back in the day. You had to wait for films to come out on VHS, and it'd be a year sometimes before you could get that movie. So when I finally got to see it again, I was so happy. Anytime it's on, any chance I get to watch it, this film will get watched every Christmas. So, guys, give it a chance if you have not seen it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed my list. Make sure you drop in the comments below your favorite Christmas movies. I know there'll be some criticisms to my list. Go ahead and let me know what they are. Guys, make sure you follow me on Instagram, TikTok. And I hope everyone has a safe and Merry Christmas this year. Next week, maybe I'll put up a review of a Christmas movie. But guys, make sure you stay warm and don't forget the popcorn.